What an intro. Hello everybody, welcome to another show, an Africam show, which is brought to you by explore.org. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and I'll be with you for the next 30 minutes, which is too short. But we're going to make the most of it. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. We're very excited to have you on board. And you can actually talk to me because this is live and it's happening right now and it's interactive, which I absolutely love because I like talking, which you will soon learn. Right, Zygote, you've said hi, Taylor McCurdy. I love that you use my full name. Jan, you're also here today. And you said it's still very hot in Arizona. It's also very hot here in Hoodspate. And Kaurut, Rolling Trouble, and DNC. Oh my goodness, you're all here. Oh, DNC, you just said you barely made it with your coffee. I made a smoothie. I hadn't eaten the whole day. It's been a really busy day. So I made a peanut butter, banana, blueberry, strawberry protein smoothie. It was delicious. Before I go and kill myself in boxing a little bit later. But anyways, of course, the show is not about the things that I eat or drink, but it's in fact about the wildlife. Which is we've got plenty of. We're at Eldonyo in Kenya at the moment. I feel like my key phrase is sandwiched between Tsavo National Park and Amboseli. It's funny how we pick up certain sentences and phrases that we like to say. And just two big bulls, just relaxing. Look how nice the light is too. It's sort of beautiful and diffused. And this is by far my favorite camera. Just watching all the animals come down and drink. Especially later on in the afternoon. Although we're missing the giraffe. We're missing a bunch of animals. Look how they're racing up against one another. These two bulls must have a fairly close relationship with one another if they're doing that. Bob from Kalamazoo, you've said good day, Taylor. Happy day. Happy day to you too, Bob. I hope it's a good one. My day is coming to an end soon. It's just after 4 p.m. in South Africa. So very different. Just having a quick drink. Although these elephants and all the animals just literally linger around this pool of water all day long. What is on that elephant's trunk on the right? Is it just dust from the soil? Must be. For a moment I thought it was pigmentation, but that's not the case at all. Okay, I think what we're going to do though, as while these elephants are just relaxing, enjoying the sunset, we are probably going to head over and check out the Black Eagle camera. Shall we do that? There we go, Black Eagle. Hi. Oh, we've got a few more people joining. Woohoo. Amber, you said happy Tuesday. And you said thank you to me. You can't thank me yet. You don't know what the show's going to be like. You've got a coffee and a muffin. Delicious. I'm still hungry even after my smoothie. And Geert, you said also hello. The cool water it is now. Nice. And then Aussie Jan. Oh, it's nice to see the regulars. So I haven't actually seen this camera in ages. But this is a Black Eagle, obviously. And it's in the nest. And I don't think it's going to be in the nest for too much longer. Sorry, you might hear some whining outside. I have got Ali's puppy Kambur. And him and my dog were playing quite nicely, but they're wet because they've been in the swimming pool, so they will not be coming inside. A little bit on the... Actually, no, it's not too windy today. And leaves don't look like they're blowing that much. So the last time I actually saw this camera, I think there was just an egg inside. No, there wasn't even an egg, actually. They were just busy fixing up the nest, the adults. So it's been wonderful. So I hope you've all been following closely and watching this bird as it develops. To be honest, I have never ever seen it before, but in some areas where I've worked, I have, sorry, what was I going to say now? We see a lot of black eagles, but just sort of soaring around. I wonder how old it is. Anyone have any idea how old it is? How many months it must be now? Normally, big birds of prey typically stay in the nest for longer than the smaller bird species. It's about 94 days. Okay, wow, that's very specific. Are you going to fledge now? You can see it's not quite an adult yet. It's still got a very mottled coloration on it. And even when it does fledge, it's still going to stick around with the parents for a couple of months. It's about up to about 7 months or so that they will stay with the adults. We've got, oh, Durell, you've also just joined. Wonderful. Zygote, your day is also over. You're home from work. Haha. I'm at home, but I'm almost finished work. This doesn't feel like work, though. Then Rebecca, you've said, hi, Taylor from the US. Saw some bloopers, funny videos of you with me and them from a couple of years ago, and that I'm so graceful. No one has ever used the word graceful and mentioning my name in the same sentence. I am a lot of things, but I don't think I am graceful. And Rolling Trouble, you said, woohoo, just saw it flapping its wings. It's going to keep doing that quite regularly now. It needs to start strengthening the muscles and the tendons before it's going to be able to take its first flight. It must be quite daunting. I'm sure you all agree with me. Sort of just sitting there staring down, sort of going, oh, when am I going to take the leap? I don't know. I think I'd probably stay in the nest for quite some time and hope that mom or dad just keep bringing food back to me. That's what I'd be hoping for. Sure. This nest has grown substantially, though. Those are a lot of twigs. Come on, flap your wings again. Although the adults are not going to come back as regularly now. So it's going to get hungry, and that's typically what's going to drive them, well, the chick in this case, to go off and find something to eat. Oh, sorry, let's go to Mabula. Oh my goodness! We are at Mabula Game Reserve and we have wild dogs. A wild dog. How wonderful. I think this might be the first predator that I've seen on the Africam sort of live show. I've never seen one before. It's looking and staring at something. I wonder what's there. It looks like it's already had a drink, though. There's some water dripping from its chin. And I've heard the wild dog sightings around here have been spectacular, which is great. And because it is so hot in and around these areas, it's a perfect time for these young ones to come for a drink. Not these young ones. Sorry, everybody. Ali's puppy has escaped. I don't know how he's done that, and I have no idea where he's gone, which is a lot of fun. So I'm going to have to try and figure that out. Yeah, still coming back for a drink. He's so sneaky. This wild dog's not as sneaky as a young puppy, though. I'm going to be back for 2 seconds and go and find him. But please enjoy the wild dog. This area. I'm actually impressed because of all the sightings that they have been having of wild dogs, how they keep them in. It was quite fascinating because it's such a difficult thing to do, try and keep wild dogs in. I must apologize again. I'm so sorry, everybody. Kambur is now locked inside, where he will remain. Oh, Irish Anne, you've just joined us from Dublin. Hello. All of the chaos. Please excuse me for being out of breath. Okay. Right. Dogs have gone MIA. Maybe some more come back. Oh, actually, Kaoru, you said they're normally with the pack. Exactly. Maybe they got separated from one another. That could quite easily have happened, and then just came down to have a drink. Oh, look at this interaction, though. We're now at Tau in Madikwe, and look at this rather large bull sort of squaring off with, looks like, the biggest cow in the group. She didn't seem too interested in him. And she's sort of twisting her trunk. She's thinking about her next movements. She's going to walk away. Looks like she's already been to the water, though. Look at how lots and lots of mud covering her and the other individuals with water right up to the tips of their trunk. Doesn't look like the bull. Oh, the bull's got a wet tip of his trunk, but he didn't look like he splashed himself. This is such an interesting sort of greeting ceremony, if you will. This one younger elephant seems to be quite interested also in the bull. As you can see, he can throw his weight around and really just get everybody moving. Oh, hello, safari vehicle! How cool. Enjoying the elephants. Wouldn't you like to be there too? So Zygote, you've asked, what does an elephant trunk resting on its tusk mean? So I've seen female elephants do it, but I've predominantly seen male elephants doing that. And actually, by just speaking about that, let's head across to Oldonyo, and then Zygote, I'm going to finish answering your question. There we go. Now we can look at some more elephants. This is so beautiful just as the sun's starting to set. So, you know, the trunk is a really large muscle. It is heavy. And a way that I've figured out how to describe it, I don't know how accurate it is, but if any of you have a long ponytail, like you've tied your hair up, and you've got really thick hair, have you ever just lifted your hair up a little bit, and then you can just feel how you have this sort of reprieve from the heaviness on your head? I imagine doing that with the trunk is the same thing, just sort of resting it, giving it a bit of a break. And then also we see with really big elephant bulls, when they're in must or they're kind of trying to show off, you'll see they put their trunks over their tusks and then they walk with such swagger. Perhaps that means you're, I don't know, cooler as an elephant. Oh, Yana Barnes, you said hello from Maryland, and that you were just in Kenya, and you know there has been rain a bit this season, and animals are somewhat recovered. So it's interesting. So Kenya has got 2 rainy seasons. The big rains kind of occur from March, April, May, and then it clears up towards the end of May, and then the rains typically start in November, and then November, December, or sometimes they sneak into January as well. But what always happens in Kenya, however, is there's still these sporadic thunderstorms that can occur, but it's not torrential downpours all over. It's kind of like these localized rainstorms. But Kenya has been in a severe drought, and and they have recovered a little bit. I was in Kenya, but I was in the Masai Mara, and even though it's looking dry and yellow, there's still a lot of grass matter around, even with the wildebeest migrations coming through. But just been, obviously watching the El Doño cameras for quite some time, it's great to see how most of the animals here are in great condition. In fact, I haven't seen one animal in terrible condition. All the antelope, even the warthogs and hippos are typically two of the animals that tend to be affected most by the drought, but the warthogs look great. They look in amazing condition. So obviously there's been enough rain to help it. I mean, during in the Amboseli, which is not too far away from here in Tsavo, they were starting to sort of supplement feed and also bring water into these areas. So yeah, I haven't actually been there, so I can't see what's happening. But it's going to be quite dry at this time of the year. Oh, hang on, we got something else that an elephant is doing. Let's go back to Tau. There's one having a mud wallow. Oh, isn't that nice? And look at the difference in the sun too. I must just comment on that. With Kenya being so much closer towards the equator, the sun does set a little bit earlier. And this time of the year, the sun in South Africa is going to set later and later. This elephant is having the best time. Look at that slurpy, slushy mud. That's definitely going to do the trick after a hot day. I might have to jump in the swimming pool when I get back from boxing. Oh, Zygote, it's only a pleasure. Only a pleasure. So he's making sure to get every inch of himself covered. And animals in this area in Madikwe, it's so arid and dry now and hot. They're going to spend a lot more time, sort of cooling themselves down, drinking water, in comparison to, say, elephants in the Sabi sand. There's just a lot more vegetation around. Yes, the temperatures are getting warm, but nowhere to the degree up in the northwestern parts of South Africa. Temperatures in summer can exceed over 40 degrees Celsius. I think the hottest day I've had in Mashatu, I don't know, 42, 43, same in Makuleki, which is just sort of further east from where Madikwe is, but also right up on the boundary. Ah, Carl, you've asked, is it true that when one foot is lifted, that an ellie can tell what the other animals are saying through vibrations? So I don't think they necessarily have to lift their feet, because they're actually picking up those vibrations through their feet. They've got this sort of fatty tissue, underneath the foot, and that's what's actually helping them pick up those vibrations, and then they can kind of decipher whatever message is being passed on. But I wonder when the elephants sort of stand really, really still, and you can see them almost thinking, if they're probably like just listening and trying to understand what's being said. Yeah, Yana, you said Amboseli was terribly dry last year. Many deaths, absolutely. There were plenty, sadly. I think that's also one of the reasons why El Doño waterhole is so popular, because it's a pumped pan. But I saw some crazy and very sad footage of elephants dying and a lot of other animals in between, and that's why they had to come in and help them. That was only fair. And from what I understand, that they had pretty good rains earlier on this year. Not too much longer before the big rains arrive. This elephant's going to single-handedly empty out this mud wallow if he carries on like this. I can't believe there's not any other elephants that are doing the same thing as him. He's got a good idea going. And see if he'll move over to the sort of clearer water where he might have a drink, unless he's already gone to do that. He might. I hope he stumbles across a crocodile, because that's always entertaining. And then a couple of little birds running around, which you might be able to see. Looks like some three-banded plovers. Look how he's sinking in the mud. There it's a bit harder, but watch as he steps forward now. And he's having those big round feet though, like wearing snowshoes. It will help him a bit, but the weight that they carry, my goodness. That's a lovely reflection. Okay, let's go back across to Old Donyo and see what those elephant bulls are up to. That elephant definitely has its trunk over the spot where the water is released. You can hear that sort of sound. Let's see if he does it again. You actually hear him inhaling, slurping. I don't know what you would call that. There's obviously not a lot of water being pushed through that pipe. So having to suck really hard to get anything into his trunk. But worth it though, because it's going to be nice, tasty, clean water. I'd rather do that. I'd probably lay down in the mud and just put my mouth around the entire hose. Although having a trunk is a lot better, a lot easier. It's funny how we don't actually see any other animals focusing on drinking around where the fresh water comes through. Because we see, obviously, giraffe, eland, the oryx, zebra, warthogs. None of them seem to be too bothered. They're happy with whatever water is in the middle. And it just goes to show you how keen an elephant's sense of smell is. And they can smell water from many kilometers away. They're able to obviously understand where water is located underground as well. Kaoru, you've asked, where are the birds? Are you talking about the birds that we maybe saw at Tau? Or are you asking about the birds here? There don't seem to be very many at the moment. You hear some starlings every now and then. But it's still a good time, maybe birds coming down for a last drink. But nothing right now. Well, at least when the other animal species come and drink, they bring the oxpeckers with them. Not with the elephants, though. Let's see if the slightly bigger bull is going to push this younger fella off. I suspect he will. Oh, there we go. Being asked to leave. So that was the younger elephant that made those vocalizations. As if to say, okay, I'm going. That's so funny to see. Such an inconspicuous pipe too. I'm always amazed how they don't dig it out. So I'm quite curious to see how they've implemented it. Like, I don't know if it's a pipe that sticks out the side or if it's something that's sort of facing straight up. But I have no idea. Maybe with the mud around there and it hardening, it's a bit difficult for the elephants to dig out. See that other elephant on the right. It's also got its trunk stuck in. I wonder if there's more than one outlet here. Or unless there's a little hole. I'm now just staring very closely to my computer screen, looking to see if there's water trickling out that side. Oh, what a bossy pants. wants everything that that young elephant has. Lazy to figure it out himself. Yeah, there's definitely some water that side. And here also hear the doves in the background. Oh, Holly, this is an interesting question. Welcome. You said, how do they keep the animals in? They don't. There's no fences in most national parks in Kenya, so animals are free roaming. So there's lots and lots of open space. Sadly, of course, there are big cities and communities and towns and road networks, train, railway lines. Those unfortunately all infringe what once was, natural wild spaces. But for the most part, the animals will sort of stick here in these protected areas unless there is just nothing else for them to eat and to drink. Then they're going to need to move. But for example, Holly, in South Africa, what we have done to protect wildlife, or to at least mitigate most of the human-wildlife conflict, is we put big fences up, electrified fences, about 2.2 meters high, and then with electric strands, and then it's sort of at about 9,000 volts, but it's not a constant current. It just pulses, so it's just to give the animal a shock to keep them in, and which is so fascinating. It's not 100% effective, unfortunately. Elephants, if they really want to, will push down fences. It's mainly just to try and deter them from going into the communities where they could potentially be persecuted. Okay, here's something different. Let's go check out the Olifants River. I'm quite curious to see the level of that. And there are baboons. Hello. It's a camouflage baboon. And you see it there. It almost just looks like a rock. Not an unusual place to find baboons. What is it doing? It just looks like it's sitting very still currently. Doesn't look like it's actually doing anything. Staring up. Maybe just taking a bit of a break. Looks like quite a large baboon, maybe a male, maybe the rest of the troop. I can just see some movement every now and then at the back, so obviously the rest of the troop is just feeding in the area. And he's just munching on something. I suppose it's important they need to have a rest as well. Sounds like someone is moving rocks around. And there's the beautiful Olifants River. Oh gosh, this is such a nice spot. Big jackalberry trees that you can see overhanging. And one of the few rivers in South Africa that keeps water for most of the year. It does, of course, dry out in places, but it truly is stunning. If any of you have seen the Tembo Plains camera in Zimbabwe, very different from the Zambezi. So Zambezi, obviously big open, but then lined with Windsor thorn trees. But having a view like this is what we typically see in and around the tributaries that contribute to the Zambezi, with these bigger overhanging trees, more sandbanks. But isn't it lovely watching the water just trickle past as the sun catches it? I wish we all had a sundowner right now. That would be great. But thank you very much, everybody, for listening and for sending through all your questions. I hope you're excited, and we'll see you again on Thursday for the Wild Moments Show.